This is a video on how I made the cute little bias tape bows that I used for my Yui cosplay. You can see them around the arms, on the belt, and on the skirt. I did use bias tape to make these bows. I used a thicker bias tape for the outside of the bow and a thinner bias tape for the part in the center, in the color that I chose. I don't see a problem with buying bows that are this small. It's just that I could not find one in the color that I needed. So here we go. Started by folding the bias tape to about the length that I wanted the outside of the bow to be. Then I squished it in the middle. You want to kind of aim to get that nice pretty bow shape. I did use a sewing machine for mine. You can use hot glue. I chose to sew right there in the middle where the cinch is. Now that we're at the sewing machine, it is important to sew it sideways so that the needle pierces through all the folds of the fabric. You may have to force the needle, but once it pierces the fabric the first time, it should go through just fine after that. And you'll see, it went through all the fabric in the middle there. Now for the second half of the bow, you're simply going to fold the bias tape back in. Make sure that both sides are about the same length. Go ahead and pinch it in the middle. And again, we're going to sew it right in the middle, right on top of where we sewed it before, right here in the center. And you want to make sure it goes through all the folds of the fabric again. Make sure to trim off any extra strings as you go. It'll be harder to trim them once you put the center piece of bias tape on, so you want to go ahead and get rid of them now. We're going to go ahead and trim the rest of the bias tape off now that we know we like the shape and look of our bow. We're going to go ahead and cut it free. You're going to want to cut it as close to the bow as possible. Now we're going to get our second bias tape, skinnier bias tape. We're just going to wrap it around the middle. There you go, it's looking like a bow already. Now again, we're going to want to trim this so that there's a little bit of excess bias tape behind it. That'll help you attach it to whatever your project piece is. You don't want too much though, because then you'll have to trim it off later and it's just wasteful. So you'll want to you're going to want to sew this. You're going to sew this as close to the base of the bow as possible. It's going to help keep the bow's shape. I pull the petals of the bow forward so I can get it nice and tight, and you're actually going to want to sew right along this line. You're going to see that I keep the petals pinched while I'm sewing, and the reason for that is, again, you want that center piece to be as tight as possible. It'll help keep the bow's shape. And ta-da! There we go. Cute little bias tape bow. You can straighten it out just a little bit. You might want to trim the back piece a little bit. You can see where I sewed across the back. And then just kind of straighten it out. You can leave it like this, or you can also pull the under pieces down a little bit. It just gives it a little more dimension, makes it a little more fluffy. That's what I did with mine. I liked it better this way. As you can see, it doesn't take much. Just pull it down a little bit. You can see if you like it. You can also just put it back if you don't like it that way. It just takes some additional fluffing, really. Only added maybe a minute total time to the bow making process. Total bow time with this particular bow was about 6 minutes. I cut the video down a little bit, not much. Just make sure you trim up all of your extra threads. Again, leave that little flap back there so that you can attach it to your project. But there they are. As always, thank you for watching. If you would like to see more content like this, please like and subscribe or leave a comment of what you would like to see in the messages below.